5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Jim George is in the studio. We affectionately know Jim as Professor Gadget because as we got to know Jim, we realized that he was more than just a cable guy. He was a gadget guy.
That's right.
And we have lots of questions about gadgets. And so while it is interesting to talk about cable TV, it's a bigger, broader subject.
Yes.
And your song is almost over. Come on, Jim, how you doing?
I am fine, thank you. So how about that power problem you were mentioning this morning, solar cells?
I don't know much about it, but our listeners know more than me, and you obviously know more about this than I would ever know. So I changed my opinion about it right away. What was your thought on that?
Well, they'll allow you to have a solar cell in your home. That's not the problem.
So 2 megawatts, I guess, is a lot, huh?
You cannot. 2 megawatts is a ton. It's more.
See, I didn't know. I mean, the number 2 just looks small.
Let's assume a 4,000 square foot house under air with 2 air conditioners, 2 water heaters. A large house.
Right.
Will probably be about 40,000 watts. You're speaking about 2 million watts. You see the difference?
Okay.
So the power company has restrictions on buying back power. So if you have a solar for your house to power your house, that's legal. You can do that, and then you make your own license agreement with the power company to buy back power that you generate in excess. But chances are you may not generate any in excess. You may just consume all the power you generate, whether you generate it by solar or by generator or fuel cell or any number of ways.
And it sounded like the way Jim Penna called it and kind of explained it so that he dumbed it down so I would understand it, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it sounded like we also don't have, like the novice, the person like me.
Right.
I wouldn't know what I was doing. I might blow up not blow it up, but burn out my computer. Who knows what could go wrong to other people plugging into it.
Right. Now, he was right when he mentioned the cycles per second, the hertz, we call it now. It used to be called 60 cycles per second. Now they call it 60 hertz per second, named after the Hertz, the guy who discovered the cycles.
Oh, I thought it was because of the way it felt when you touched the bare wire.
It does hertz, too. Yeah. So, no, he had it all down to, like you said, a plain English language. But the government has to protect the next person. So anything you do that you sell to another person or you share with another person has to be regulated and have standards.
And I love the common sense approach that you are giving it, that Jim was giving it, that Sonny was giving it, because the article was not taking that approach. The article was taking the approach that you, as an American citizen, should have a right to do this. And of course, I was being sucked into that. But I knew enough to know not to bring. In other words, I extracted from the article the little facts without trying to read the language that would persuade you to lean one way or the other. So
yeah, you have the right to generate your own power for your own home. You just don't have the right to sell it to somebody else.
Now
even to give it away free.
That is the ultimate gadget, isn't it? The electricity making gadget. that's got to be the ultimate gadget, because once you have that, then you could live on Mars, you could live on the moon, you could live anywhere, you could live in the desert.
But the Florida, California has great laws on solar cell. That is, you can have them on your house, you can sell back the excess energy to the power company. Florida is one of the states that do not allow that. We don't really know why Florida has not allowed the growth spurt of solar.
It's money.
Yeah, except that maybe Duke Energy and Florida Power and Light and the rest of them have great lobbyists. As a matter of fact, I heard the other day that for every House of Representative, for every Florida Senate, there are 2 lobbyists per one person.
Oh, wow.
That's how many lobbyists are.
Wow.
Gosh.
Wow.
Trying to tell them, don't do this, don't do that. It's going to hurt our business.
Yeah, right.
Everything's going to exist. When radio came on and TV started to be an invention, the U.S. government stopped TV for 2 years to do a test, to do some more education devices, because the radio was complaining that TV would kill radio. Well, they coexist. And when theaters came around, they argued that it would kill TV, and everybody argues that new technology will kill the old one.
Well, they said cable TV would kill movies.
Yes.
They said pay
Right.
TV would kill movie
Yeah,
theaters.
exactly.
I remember those signs, save free TV.
Yeah, yeah. And as you see, everything coexists. And now there's things called over the top, which we offer, which are international channels and gender or item specific channels, like the knitting channel, the sewing channel, the whatever.
You have a gender specific channel?
The sheep wooling
Women
channel.
only?
Yeah,
I want that channel.
WE, the women entertainment channel.
Yeah.
That's not what I want. I thought you meant something else.
That's called the men's channel.
But you think that,
Oh, ouch.
because of technology moving forward, that the electric companies would embrace the technology and have like an offshoot of their product, and that way they could sell both things instead of trying to stop the one thing. I mean, that is just such a that is so doing a disservice to the American people that want to have more money in their pocket and not pay the megabucks to the electric companies.
Well, those automatic transfer switches that were mentioned earlier, that's to keep the power from going back onto the grid. And there's a reason. If the power is out in your neighborhood and the power company guy rolls out to try and find out what the problem is, he knows where the power was last at, let's say pole number 3, but he knows at pole number 12 there was no power. So somewhere in between there's power. But if he goes to pole 14 and there's power there, he could get killed or shocked himself. So you just can't arbitrarily put power into the grid. So they want to know where your power generator
that makes
is,
sense, yeah.
That they have to have these safety precautions in place, and the automatic transfer switch would actually bar power from going back onto the grid. It would just stay in your own home, and then when the grid got reactivated again, then the automatic transfer switch would say, "Oh, I have power now," and I'll shut off.
So you say California has a different set of rules? So some of those people are doing this very thing?
Yes, yeah, they're
really?
Yeah, California is very open for solar power.
So they are doing it, which makes me now wonder if the argument why we shouldn't do it holds any water at all.
Well, because a lot of them are the ranchers, and the grapevine growers and all, the orange, they produce their own energy because they're so far out and that kind of thing. We, on the other hand, are, you wouldn't want to have, let's say, on top of the world, 50 generators running all night. You imagine your next door neighbor having a generator running all night.
You have to get a quiet one because they
do have quiet ones. Yeah,
they have them quieter, but that's where the fuel cell technology comes in. I am trying to reserve right now a place for August 19th where the fuel cell technology people will come in town. There'll be about 70 of us, electricians, but also there'll be the Firefighters Association and the county commissioners, and we're going to do training on fuel cell. So fuel cell is where it's almost self-replicating power. It almost does it by itself. You basically get a propane tank, or you basically get a hydrogen cell, and it creates electricity, pure, clean electricity. And the outfall of this generator, it doesn't really generate, but for people to understand, is water. H2O, hydrogen, oxygen.
Jim, we have a phone call, and good morning. You're on the air with Jim George.
Hey, Mr. George, this is Mark calling Larry and Robin, and I just wanted to comment from a military standpoint. Having been a Marine, I know the Marine Corps is actually transitioning a lot to the cell powered stuff for laptops out in the field, communication. Also, their vehicles are going to run hydroelectric or whatever it is. So their theory is they get in situations where they don't need fuel and logistics. That's your log train, and the log trains are what were kept getting hit in Iraq. Those vehicles being driven by civilians to support the military being blown up, so they become a weapon themselves that are used against us. So the Marines can work more autonomously. And I would just say, in addition to California, where the citizens have more input than to their reality than the poor state of Florida, they are also building their electric high-speed train, the train that goes 200 miles an hour. So when I left in the Marine Corps, and I left Okinawa in 1977-78 to come back to America to learn how to guard U.S. embassies in Washington, D.C., I was almost hit by a 200-mile-an-hour Japanese train because I couldn't hear it coming, and actually a Marine grabbed me. We were in civilian clothes in mainland Japan, and and I thanked him. So it startled me. He had been in Japan. He knew. So the point is, we're not really leading the world because our citizens just really aren't as informed as they could and need to be. And I thank this gentleman for being on the radio because everything he says seems to be on his game. So I thank him for being on the show.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Yep,
thank you.
Very good. Jim, we need to take a little break, and we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident for today. More clouds and sun, along with a couple of heavy thunderstorms around. There can be flooding downpours and damaging wind gusts in any thunderstorm today. The high 84 to 88. Tonight, mostly cloudy, warm, and muggy with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm, some heavy, low 72 to 76. Tomorrow, clouds and breaks of sun with a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms. Watch for flooding, high 84 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
Who doesn't love heading out on the boat with a family, hitting the ATV trails with friends, or blazing new stretches of highway with riding buddies? Your toys are your ticket to outdoor fun. At the McDonald Allstate Agency, we get to know you and help make sure you have all the right coverages. Plus, when you bundle your coverage for your car and your home with your boat, motorcycle, RV, or more, you can save up to 30%. So call the McDonald Allstate Agency today at 622-2333 or stop by one of our 2 Ocala locations at Calla Hills or the Jasmine Square Plaza.
Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Savings vary.
Hi, this is Brad. I want to take a moment to talk about a serious issue. In the next 5 years, the aviation industry is projected to have a shortage of commercial pilots. Now is the time to start training. Ocala Flying Club has started a scholarship for the youth of Marion County ages 17 to 24. The club will donate up to $4,000 towards a pilot's license. This will help get the student on their way to obtaining their commercial pilot license. If this sounds like something you would be interested in, or if you know someone that would be, please contact Ocala Aviation Services, 861-7484.
R&D Tactical Solutions, Ocala's indoor gun range. 12 climate-controlled state-of-the-art lanes. R&D Tactical Solutions, full retail store, everything from firearms to CCW classes. Located next to the Supervisor of Elections. Open 9 to 7 weekdays, 9 to 5 Saturdays, and 10 to 4 Sundays. Call 622-7468. R&D Tactical Solutions, Ocala's indoor gun range. Call 622-7468.
Robin, let's try a little plant trivia. Name this nursery. It's a not-for-profit, and it teaches growing and caring for plants to their students.
Oh, that's easy. Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? It's a nursery conveniently located between Ocala and Bellevue.
Again, it's Kenny's Place.
Or how about this one? A nursery with a wide variety of just what you need or want at the most reasonable prices.
Kenny's Place, of course.
Kenny's Place at 7677 Southeast 41st Court. Give them a call at 867-1213. It's a caring place for people and plants. It's Kenny's Place. All right. 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. Nice looking Friday morning. Jim George is here, and believe it or not, Jim, you have a call about cable TV.
Great.
Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. I'm Mike McCoy.
Hey, Mike.
I have a question for you regarding a cable TV monopoly. And regarding, I live out in the Crystal Lakes area here in Ocala, Northern Shores over by Lake Diamond. Our cable TV and internet provider is monopolized by Comcast. And I am starting up a petition within our neighborhood to force Comcast to allow other cable providers such as Cox or CenturyLink or whatever to come into our neighborhood. I'm just curious if you could give me any kind of, because we have no other option for cable, for internet cable, other than Comcast. They have a monopoly in our neighborhood for whatever reason, and I can't seem to find an answer from anyone who could tell me why this is and how this became.
Okay, if you're inside of a gated community, such as on top of the world.
Gated. It is not gated.
Sure, no. I'm giving you a little history. If you're inside a gated community, the FCC ruled about 3 years ago that franchise cable operators cannot have an exclusive contract. In order to keep their foothold, they got what's called an exclusive marketing agreement with the developer. So CenturyLink can go in there, Cox can, anybody can go in, but the only one who's allowed to put flyers out or, in the facility would be that initial one. If you're just in the city or the county, and Comcast is there, Cox can go in. There's nothing that keeps another cable provider out. What it is the cable providers themselves have decided not to overbuild each other. Now the reason is, if there was 10,000 homes in your development, or even 1,000 homes in the area you live in, the infrastructure cost is about $1,000 a home. So if Cox were to build in that area to overbuild Comcast, and there was 1,000 homes, and it'd be 1,000 times 1,000. And that's how much money they would have to put in just to have the same infrastructure that Comcast, and then they would be fighting for the same subscriber. So let's assume that Comcast had 80% of the subscribers, because 20% were CenturyLink telephone people that had either dial-up or DSL. Now that means they're each fighting for only 80% of that number. And 40% each of that 80%. So, and then you're going to have the ones that do dish and do direct. So when they do the numbers, it just doesn't make sense to them to overbuild the incumbent. And that's why it's not done. It's all economics. It's all dollars and cents. It has nothing to do with politics.
Right.
It just costs too much money.
I'm beating my head against the wall here.
Yes. Now, what you could do is, I've actually had a part of the city of Ocala that's putting in their own wireless internet network. They're doing it themselves. So they get an internet provider, like the city of Ocala, to feed them at point A, and then they take it from there and they do their own wireless, and they cover their whole community, about 400 homes, wirelessly, and now that's the internet provider. And then when someone like me comes along that offers TV a la carte, or they want Netflix or whatever, they get internet through that wireless provider.
Right. Okay. So,
but it's not a question of Comcast keeping somebody out. They're not keeping somebody out. The other person doesn't want in.
I got it. It's just not economically feasible for the likes of Cox or CenturyLink to go in there and install the cable network that's needed.
Exactly. Yeah,
because it's all underground. We have no overhead lines in our community.
Right. I mean, you're looking at a minimum of $1,000 a home.
Right.
Just to put it in.
Well, I would say that's probably going to be, and that's probably what it is. So, well, at least I have an intelligent answer now that I can. I have
thank
something,
you.
But I'm still going to try to find I mean, there's got to be a way. There's a will. There's a way.
Yeah, well, that's why they have direct, and that's why they have dish, and CenturyLink offers Prism. Maybe they don't offer it in your area, but CenturyLink offers Prism.
Yeah, nobody offers anything in our area except Comcast.
Okay.
And we had a situation. What really brought all this about is I'd been in my home for 2 years. I subscribed to basic cable TV, and the internet. And then all of a sudden I came home one day and turned on the TV, and we had lost about 10, 15 channels.
Right.
And I contacted Comcast, and it was like, oh, well, we made a mistake when we installed your system, and after an audit, we found out that you were getting channels that you weren't supposed to get, so we just turned them off.
Oh.
And, yeah. And they don't care. Comcast, they don't care. They don't care if you like it or not, because they have the monopoly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think you should. If you have CenturyLink in your area, I think you should look up Prism.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Wow, that's fun, interesting to listen to. That was a great call. Yeah. Well, that's a great. See, we go right back to the first day you did the show. That's the kind of questions we were getting before Robin and I took you down this techno trail with our gadgets.
Well, you had your share of gadgets with your tooth that you.
Oh yeah, I had operation on my gum.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, was that why you said it hurts earlier?
Oh yeah.
Right side looks puffy.
The dentist was great at what he did, but he had to go real deep inside the inside of my mouth to cut out. In Vietnam, I had a cyst on the outside of my cheek, and it was so swollen and so bad that the field hospital would not cut my cheek. If they did, I would have infection for being in the jungles of Vietnam.
Right.
So they cut it from inside my mouth. So that was in 1965. So ever since then, a lot of times when I'm eating or something, I'll bite down and I'll bleed because they did not heal well inside my mouth. So I finally said, enough is enough. I'm 70 years old. So I went to the dentist. He said, yeah, I can cut that out. So they went in Wednesday and cut it out, and is it sore.
No.
But anyway, they got some good drugs, so I'm happy.
So it's a matter of a week before you're feeling nothing?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just going to be tender for a while. I'm a little puffy, as you can probably see.
You're puffy.
But at least I don't have an infection or anything. That's good. Didn't need any antibiotics.
And that's technology.
It is technology. There again, when they put the knife inside, it was an electronic knife.
Oh.
And
like the way you cut your turkey, that one? Like that electronic knife?
And when they put the suction thing, it was electronic, but they were powered from 2 different plugs on the wall.
Oh my!
And so when they did, I got shocked on my lip and actually burned my lip a little bit. He said, "Yeah, we call that the blowout. That's where the acid in your mouth reacts to the chemicals that are in the probe, which is the laser cutter,
right.
And it reacts with the metal that's on the suction, and it's like a battery, and it created a spark in my mouth."
Gee.
And he said, "But once you get the first initial one, it's over." And sure enough, it was. But
well, it only stays in your mouth. I mean, it doesn't jump to your stomach, does it?
No,
It's a spark?
No. No, it's just a chemical reaction. Anyway,
that's a real heartburn right there.
And then after he cut, a straight line, then he went in with scissors and cut all the excess meat away. And then he had to sew the inside.
Are you awake at this point?
Oh yeah, I was telling Robin.
Could you hear
earlier,
it? Could you hear the scissors?
Oh boy,
cutting the meat.
Oh yes. And you could feel it. You just couldn't feel any pain. And he kept cutting and cutting and cutting. So finally, I said, "What are you doing? Carving your name in there?"
It's my signature.
Anyway, I was okay when I left, but that night when the Novocaine wore off, oh boy.
So what are you doing for pain now?
Oh, they give me a pain pill. I can't even pronounce the thing. It's a long,
Aspirin?
No, I take aspirin. But anyway, gadgetry is alive and well and everything. I was trying to get Michelle Products or Michelle Design to come in here, and they make beautiful designs for women, but the technology they use in order to receive something in, log it, inventory it, put it in the right station, pick it, put it in the right box, put the right label on it to ship it back out. I mean, the technology is unbelievable. So I'm trying to get them to come in, but when they do come in, you'll see that the technology is definitely alive and well, even in the mundane things of a warehouse, bringing something in and taking it back out.
Yeah, it
unbelievable.
Has to be.
By the way, when you said that movie theaters did not meet their end because of pay TV and HBO and all that stuff, absolutely. But this is the second shooting out a movie theater that it's just like there's always these copycat guys. That's what's going to hurt movie theaters.
Yeah.
People are going to be afraid. They're going to say, "I'm going to have my home theater and I'll be fine at home," right?
Yeah, I hope so.
All right. Well, I hope your mouth is feeling better.
Oh, it will be. It will be.
I hear some sirens. That must be.
Yeah, that's it. The gadget's coming.
Jim, what is your phone number?
854-9795.
And call Jim if you have any questions about anything he said today, and stay tuned next week.
And have a great weekend.
For more. Yeah, you too. Thank you, Jim. We'll be right back.
This is a Fox News alert. I'm Lillian Wu. A plea for help from the public for information about the gunman in last night's Louisiana movie theater shooting. He's just been identified.
Our shooter is John Russell Houser, Houser. He's a white male.